Hello everyone, my name is Hazan Nasir bin Abdul Hamid.
Hi everyone, my name is Karni Safana binti Muhammad Alwi.
Hello, my name is Nurin Nazifa binti Syamuddin.
Hi everyone, my name is Nur Anis binti Muhammad Iskandar Long.
Hello, my name is Aina Nismi binti Hakim.
We dedicated this video to Sir Farid. Hi, I will explain about the introduction of regulatory framework of derivative trading. It is important to realize that the regulation of derivative trading arises from special requirement necessary for high-risk leverage transactions. The special features of derivative trading have been addressed by both statute and exchange business rules in a number of particular ways that generally found in other well-regulated futures markets throughout the world. Okay. There are three broad aims of regulations. Number one is to promote a professional conduct. High professional standards among market intermediaries ensure for an efficient markets. So, all intermediaries are required to pass Malaysian Futures and Options Registered Representative Examination, which is conducted by Securities Industry Development Centre. Second one is to provide fair and transparent markets. Fairness means market participants are able to compete on a level playing field. There is no individual's operation is advantaged at the expense of another, and there are equal trading opportunities for everyone. The third one is to minimize default risk. Regulation is aimed at minimizing the risk of default by one institution leading to defaults in the entire market or other markets, or both. The risk is known as systemic risk, which has been legally defined as the risk disruptions. However, as the law is constantly changing area and as the business rules of the exchanges and clearinghouse are continually updated, the relevant documents should be referred to before any decisions that might be affected by them is made.
Okay, next I'm going to explain about structure of regulation agency. The financial future and option industry is governed by the Future Industry Act FIA 1993. The scheme of regulation in this future industry measure is one of the CO regulation between the Securities Commission as the public authority and the self-regulatory organization PMDB and BMDC as the front-line regulation. However, there are three agencies that regulate the future industry in Malaysia. Firstly is Security Commission, which is through the enforcement of the FIA and its regulation. Secondly, the Exchange House, which is BMDB, which through the enforcement of its business rules. Lastly, the Clearing House, BMDC, which is through the enforcement of its. Explain about the Future Industry Act, which is FIA. Okay, Future Industry Act outlines the power and duties of the Minister of Finance and the Security Commission. However, there are powers of Minister of Finance. Firstly, the power to prescribe regulation under the FIA. Secondly, the power to close futures market in an emergency. And lastly, the power to grant and revoke the approval of exchange company and clearing. Roles of the Securities Commission. There are three roles. Firstly, Securities Commission is approving the new derivative products. Secondly, enforcement and transaction powers. And lastly, approving the business rule of exchange company and clearing house.
Okay, I will continue with 6 major trading offenses under the FIA. The first one is false trading. Under Section 79, no person is allowed to involve or misleading appearance of active trading with respect to the market and with respect to the price of future contract. Okay, the second one is bucketing. Under Section 80, no one permitted to hold himself or having execute an order to purchase or sale of future contract without having affected bona fide. The third one is manipulation and cornering. Under Section 82, prohibit anybody to manipulating price of contract and cornering the underlying market. Fourth one is device to defraud. Section 83 prohibit any person to make false statement. The fifth one is false or misleading statement. No person is allowed to make statement if the statement of purchase or sale are false. The last one is abuse of information. Under Section 85, it holds any person who has information about the contract to protect their information. Okay, next I will explain about the significance of Fidelity Fund. There are two. The first one is purpose of the Fidelity Fund. The purpose of the Fidelity Fund is to provide client with compensation in the event of a dishonesty of money. Okay. For example, an employee of a broker misappropriated the money of a client and the number was unable to compensate the client, the fund would be available. The fund is not available to compensate for loss on the market, whether caused by the negligence of a member or otherwise. Okay, the second one is administration and users. Exchange company can use the Fidelity Fund to pay any claims made by aggrieved client and all other payment relating to the administration of the Fidelity Fund. Any person other than the future broker who has suffered monetary loss as a result of a defalcation of a broker is entitled to lodge a claim with the relevant exchange company.
Hi everyone, so I'll be talking about Bursa Malaysia Derivative Berhad as a regulator of an exchange house. Bursa Malaysia Derivatives Berhad, or also we can call as BMDB, is the sole derivatives exchange in Malaysia, which is 75% of it owned by Bursa Malaysia Berhad, and the remaining 25% stake is held by Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Besides that, BMDB also provides, operates and maintains a futures and options exchange. For your information, Bursa Malaysia Derivative Berhad operates the most liquid and successful crude palm oil futures contract in the world, and it is regulated by the Securities Commission. Basically, the business rules of BMDB have 5 objectives, which is to create smooth functioning of the market, to have a transparent and fair trading, to regulate the conduct of the exchange members, to outline the terms of contracts traded on the exchange, and to evaluate the use of the trading facilities. To meet the 3 aims of regulations, BMDB will provide the following functions, which are as a marketplace for the trading of derivative contract, development of new derivative products, ensure fair and orderly marketplace, determine and admit members, enforce and formulate new business rules, take directions from Securities Commission, and direct members' conduct. For the corporate profile of BMDB, it exists as a result of merger between COMEX and CLOFI. COMEX stands for Commodity and Monetary Exchange of Malaysia, which it is a merger between KLCE and its subsidiary, which is Malaysia Monetary Exchange Berhad. CLOFI stands for Kuala Lumpur Options and Financial Future Exchange. CLOFI offers equity derivative products based on underlying instruments traded on the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange. As a result of the merger between COMEX and CLOFI, BMDB is under the management of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad.
Hi. Okay, now I will explain about BMDC. So BMDC is a legal entity separate from the BMDB. which is it has contracted to act as a clearing house for the contract traded on the exchange. So BMDB is a company limited by share and incorporated under Companies Act 1965. So the shareholder of the BMDC is a Kuala Lumpur Option and Financial Future Exchange, KLOFFE, and the Commodity and Monetary Exchange, which is COMEX, and the composition of the board of director in BMDC is prescribed under section 6C of the FIA. So the act require of the board of director to comprise two representatives nominated by BMDB. Second one, two representatives nominated by a change clearing member who are also member of BMDB, and the last one is one director appointed by the Minister of Finance. So they have two classes membership in BMDC. The first one is a member which clear trades and enter into the contract for their own account. The second one is a members which clear trade and enter into the contract on behalf of other person. So the business rules in BMDC is a BMDC business contain a vital provision to enable the clearinghouse to perform in function of the clearing and risk management of contract registered by a BMDC. So they have three type, which is clearing membership, clearing procedures, contract settlement and delivery. So the function of the BMDC, of course, they are basically related to the record keeping and the risk management. So as the conclusion, even though the derivative are leverage investment, the participant are well protected by BMDB, and the financial obligation or counterparties are well managed by BMDC. So that's all from us. Thank you.